We will now call the meeting of the Zoning Board of Appeals for Raymond, Maine to order on January 29th, 2018. We have three things to do on the agenda tonight. Item 1 to be addressed are draft minutes from the September 28th, 2015, October 13th, 2015, October 19th, 2015 meetings, 2 applications for board membership, and 3 applications for setback reduction. So, number 1, do I hear for the approval of the draft minutes from the September 28th, October 13th, and October 19th, 2015 meetings, or are there any things that you would like to bring up about those drafts?
I make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second it.
All in favor? Aye. Number 1 is taken care of. 2 applications for board membership. This board needs 5 people to be on it, so that 3 constitutes a quorum, but that way you can have 1 or 2 leave and still have a quorum. And we have applications. Scott Vorshak is the code enforcement officer. Where are we on those applications?
You should have copies of them, the candidates are here tonight.
I've got them, Larry, if you want to.
Oh,
I
okay.
have extra copies.
All right. We have named Eric Wesley Rich, 8 Elizabeth Avenue, Raymond, Maine, 04071. Occupation, head counterman and outside salesman for auto parts store. And then in today's rule, we leave out his telephone number and his email. We won't do that.
Yes.
But is Rick Welch here?
Yes.
There he is. And I was member of Raymond Fire Department for 34 years. I was a veteran starting in 1978 as a 13-year-old. I got done with fire department a few years ago, but would like to continue to volunteer. I have lived in Raymond all my life and been on the fire department for quite a while. I know the town well. I also work in construction, excavation for 16 years, so am familiar with the process. To look at the facts put forth by the town and the landowner also make a good decision on those facts. Raymond Fire Department for 35 years. Raymond Fire Association was on several fire committees in different years. And that is Eric Welch.
I think you can probably just.
Yeah, I was going to say, excuse me, Chairman, could we have him go to the podium and
Oh, yeah.
introduce himself?
Oh, yes, all right.
Hi, my name's Eric Welch. I go by Rec and do want to be a member of the Board of Appeals.
Thank you very much. And the other member is Leonard Cirilli. Is
Let's
he
just-
here?
Wait.
Why don't we, while he's up there, Larry, why don't we see if we've got any questions for him and
Oh,
take care of that? and
okay,
then-
yes. Does anybody here have any questions for him?
I think just have you served on any other boards in Raymond or in any other towns or,
No,
no problem?
just the fire department and, was a deputy chief and chief, assistant chief.
And you know our schedule, that if we
Yes.
meet, it's Mondays and you have no problem?
No.
Okay,
Well, thank you for wanting to serve.
yeah, thank you very much.
And the next one is Leonard Cirilli of Lakeside Drive, and his telephone and email, we won't divulge that.
Excuse me, Chairman, could we just have the
What?
person go to the podium?
Or would you go to the podium and tell us why you want to be a member of the appeals board?
There you go.
Hi, I'm Len Sorelli. I've lived in Raymond I've owned property in Raymond for 35 years, and after my wife and I retired, we moved here, and I wouldn't live anywhere else. You know, I love it here. I want to be on the board because I'm very interested in the town and the workings of it. I see changes on Panther, and I would like to be part of that and part of the construction and the changes I see going on in the town. My favorite thing is we have property that we rent, and I just love to show people the town and the lake and so on and so on. I'm retired, so I have plenty of time, free time to come to meetings and whatever, and I really want to be part of the town of Raymond.
Thank you very much.
Thank you
You're
so
welcome.
much. We
Is
have,
there another one?
that's
That
a,
was it, okay.
That's two.
yeah,
All right.
And I would like to ask Scott Vorshak, how many do we need to replace now?
Well, if I'm not mistaken, I mean, what do you mean as far as replace? I mean, if we have two more, we'll have the five, but I don't know who else is,
Yeah, what I'm going at, the other two that aren't here, they're still,
Okay, Eldon has resigned.
yeah.
Eldon,
we're-
okay,
so-
right, he moved out of state, I know that.
And Steve, we've not
you know,
had any communication from him.
so one
Okay.
is for sure, and the second one is questionable as to whether or
So we're
not.
thinking that we might talk to him about becoming an alternate.
So, tonight, are we filling two regular members, or one regular and one alternate?
Well, it probably, just by going on the face, we'd probably just replace one because we don't know or don't have any confirmation from the other gentleman as to what is going
Okay,
on.
and then
with
hold
that.
one in reserve.
We'll have
Yeah.
one as an alternate for
Yeah.
the time being
Yeah.
until we can
Find
find out
out.
from Steve Greenwald.
Yeah, so we can
Okay.
get some
And
confirmation.
which order did these gentlemen apply?
I got Mr. Sorelli's first and then Mr. Welch.
Okay.
Okay, shall we go by the application? Does
That's
that
what I
seem
would
fair?
I agree, to go by the date
Yeah.
of application
Yeah.
to fill the office,
I would agree.
or the seat, I mean.
I would move to approve Leonard Sorelli as the full-time zoning board member and Eric Welch as the alternate at this point, till we determine the status of,
And we need to send this to the select board for their final approval.
very good.
And would that be
Second
that if either of the members that we have now decide they don't want to be on the board, then Eric Welch automatically becomes a full member?
Yes.
Okay.
Good.
So we have one full member in waiting to find out where the other two, what they want to do, say.
Mhm.
So we move to approve that as Leonard, as Sorelli as full-time, and Eric as an alternate, and Patricia has seconded.
I second that. And so now the selectmen board will make the decision?
They will do a little interview and then approve or not.
Okay.
Odds are they will approve.
Okay.
Very good.
Thank you.
All in favor? So you have a board member and a board member in waiting.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, gentlemen, appreciate it.
Now, the last business is on the Clifford Swan development over on Thomas Pond. We have a couple from Delaware that have a front lot, and they have 3 of Clifford's back lots. And they would like to put sleeping quarters on the back lot. And their problem is the back lot needs a 30-foot dimension from the building to the line. And they would like to cut that back to 15 feet so they could make put in a building that was reasonable for people to sleep in. Do I hear any discussion on that?
Have them come up and present
Oh,
to
yes.
us
Would you
probably
come up?
first. Yep.
And present
At the podium, please.
it at the podium.
We usually have people sign in there as well.
Okay.
And just a comment, Mr. Chairman, for, excuse me, for the record, I know this, at one point, someone had brought up this came in as a variance, but just for the record, this is a setback reduction
Correct.
application, just so we're clear. Okay.
Excuse me, this is the walkthrough we did.
Correct.
Exactly.
Okay.
You got it.
Thank you.
Okay, yes, so about 10 years ago, my wife and I bought the properties on Thomas Pond. The one that's on the lake is very small. We have a micro home. It's about 170 square feet. We have 2 children. One lives in Los Angeles and one lives in North Carolina. And would like to come and visit with us, but there's really not enough room in 170 square feet for that. So what we'd like to do is to build a structure on the lot that we have across the road that would, when they come and visit, they would be able to use that to stay in. And I expect that they're pretty busy people, so I don't expect them to be here more than maybe a week or 2 per year. But nonetheless, they're starting to have kids, and we really would like to introduce our grandchildren to the pond. So what we've proposed is a structure. At the moment, we're thinking something on the order of 20 feet by 14 feet. So we would need a reduction in the setback on the rear of the property from 30 feet to 15 feet to be able to accommodate that. I did talk to Mr. Murch about potentially buying some of his property there so that we could have the proper setbacks. And I understand perfectly he's not really interested in dividing up his land or selling his land. So he suggested that we make an appeal for a setback change, and that's why we're here today.
Thank you. I have one question for the code enforcement officer. If they set that back to 15 feet, will that have any effect on the individual that owns the land in back of them?
Well, I mean, it's hard to actually foresee in the future what entails, but with a 15-foot setback, it would probably be minimal. Given some of the houses that are on that side of the road, some are fairly close, that border that lot. There's a couple of them that are almost as close.
So if someone to build a house on the other side of that, they would have their 30-foot setback, and that would be fine.
You mean as far as being on that same side of the road that they're looking to do?
No, on the land that is in the 21 acres that is in back
Oh,
of them.
yeah, it wouldn't affect them.
Wouldn't affect,
No,
okay.
because they'd still go by their property line, and they would have the
Okay.
setback, the minimum
And
setbacks.
the other thing I wonder about is parking level. They're now parking in the right-of-way.
Yep.
Say that there's quite a few people on that lake, and eventually say they wanted to put the Swan House, the house of the, what do they call it? Thomas Pond Terrace Road along and connect with the other road and come out on the road that goes to Quaker Ridge. Would those people, you would lose your parking level, wouldn't you?
Correct.
I've been talking to the road manager for the area, and they have no intention in changing that particular road, dimensions of that road. But the parking area at the moment is in the right-of-way of that road, correct?
Okay. The other thing, and this is just, you know, you can do as you want, but it's a suggestion, and because I've been on the board for quite a while, there is a tendency for people to have a property, and they want to set the building right in the center of the property, say, and you have on the side, what is your side setback?
More than,
I think down there it's 20 feet for the side.
All right,
in that area.
say you moved it either to that side or that side to the 20, then if you wanted to expand, you can go that way and you would be okay. See, if you set a building in the center,
Right.
you've used up that way and that way, so set it here and get more that way.
Right.
See
Well,
what I
we'll
mean?
certainly look at that, where we can locate the building on the lot.
but currently, there are no issues with the side setback. We're
No.
within code.
He's within
on
the
those.
minimum standards for that zone, yep.
And I just had a question. I know it said that the Raymond Code Enforcement Officer has already agreed to a front setback reduction from 30 to 10 feet
In the front.
in the front. I just want, we have that on record, that's official, that's,
That was prior to, I believe, Chris Hansen did that. I didn't see anything in the notes, but I've seen it before, that he did do that. He is able to do that. I can check back with him to confirm it, but I believe that is.
so that's good then?
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
good with that part of it?
Yeah.
Okay, okay. I had a question. Okay, so you're thinking the 14 by 20, 24 would be the max? You wouldn't go
Correct.
beyond that?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And I think just as far as what was in the packet, Scott, I was just going to address this to you. The 6-month additional extension, I know in section 16E, I think it is on page 52 in our book, when it says expiration of a permit, permit shall expire 1 year from the date of issuance if a substantial start is not made in construction, and on and on. I believe that's your call, or is,
Well, it's when whenever the permit is issued, they
Yeah.
have 6 months to start it, and then usually a year to finish it. Something small this size wouldn't take much to complete. In bigger houses, sometimes it goes a little bit beyond that, but as long as we're notified that they're running a little bit behind schedule, it can be given a little bit more of a leeway, but.
is that anything we need to address, or is that something you'd address with the
No,
applicant?
it's really had to do, I mean, that's more of a code building permit
Right.
type thing than
Okay.
a zoning board of appeals.
That's good, then I think that clarifies, and all we have to address is that rear setback
Correct.
from 30 to 15.
Right, reduction.
Yeah.
Do you have anything you would like to say? Any comments? I have
No.
none. You want to make a motion?
Well, we can walk through just just for the record, what we need to consider, on page 54 is shoreland zoning, section 16G2F, 1 through 8. And that's where we may grant reductions from the minimum requirements for setback. And Mr. Anderson, you can sit down if you'd like to, I think.
Okay.
See, I don't want to make you stand or,
Actually, I've been sitting all day.
oh, that's true, that's true. Maybe you want to walk around for a while. But for the board, if we just walk through these and see if we're comfortable and have any questions on those. We may grant reductions from the minimum setback requirements set forth in section 15A of these provisions according to all the following criteria. The first is the setback reduction appeals are only available to reduce the minimum requirements for setbacks of structures from lot boundary lines. Setback reduction appeals shall not be used and are not available from bodies of water as provided in these provisions. I don't think there's any issue there. Yep. Setback reduction appeals may only be granted and are only available for lots with a residential dwelling as the principal structure. There's no concerns there. The Board of Appeals may grant a setback reduction appeal if the board finds that granting the setback reduction will not result in unreasonable interference with the privacy interests of the abutting landowners. Have there been any comments from abutters or,
Nothing.
Nothing from, I haven't heard anything that's come to
Okay.
the office.
and no one's in the audience that's opposed?
No, they have been notified to by mail. And-
Wonderful.
Yep.
Great.
And I talked to all my neighbors that were around this past summer, and they all are fine.
Great. In granting the setback reduction, the Board of Appeals may attach reasonable conditions which it may deem necessary to serve the purposes of these provisions. So if anyone has anything to address with that, I
See
can't.
anything?
No.
Okay.
5, a setback reduction appeal shall not be granted to enable construction or renovation that will create additional dwelling units. That's not the case here. It's one on that piece of land. A setback reduction appeal shall not be granted to enable construction or renovation that will result in more than one garage on the lot that is subject to the appeal. There's no garage on that lot, am I correct? No setback reduction appeal may be granted that will result in impervious surface lot coverage of greater than 15%. And anyone, please check me, but even if they did the maximum 14 by 24, I think we'd be looking at 336 square feet, and the lot being approximately 100 by 40, that's well under the 15%. So that's covered there. Setback reduction appeals may only be granted to the minimum extent necessary to accomplish the purpose of the appeal. Setbacks may not be reduced by setback reduction appeal to less than the following absolute minimum setbacks. Front yard 15, but that's already been dealt with out of our scope. Side yard 10, that's not an issue on either of those. And the rear down to 15. You are asking from 30 to 15, so that meets that recommendation as well. Based on that, I motion to approve the setback reduction from the rear from 30 to 15 feet.
I second that.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you. You're all taken care of.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Good luck.
Thank you.
I have a question though, one question though. So you'll send us a certificate of variance that I
Yes.
then have to have recorded, correctly?
Correct. Yep, and then we'll also want a copy of that, and we'll have a copy of that in your building folder. And then we also have to send it up to DEP for review, I think, if I remember correctly.
Okay. So timing, any sense of how long that might take?
Haven't really done that before where it was, this is relatively new to me. I couldn't really tell you. I know just by sending on other issues, it could probably take a couple weeks
Oh, that's
to hear
fine.
back from,
Certificate done
Oh,
first.
Yeah.
Tomorrow or Wednesday, so.
yeah,
great. And then I think I have 90 days to actually get it recorded, I believe.
I believe so, yeah.
Okay. Great.
And Scott, we didn't mean to leave you out of this. Did you have any comments or?
No, 'cause we had talked that they had the possibility of putting a gray water system, which means no running water, but it does mean hand-carried water. That can fit in a lot that size, and they could have a composting toilet. So as far as, because over on their house, it would be kind of limited as to what they could do on the other side. So this seems to be the best fit for what they wanted to do. But other than that, until I see the building permit and how it's built and everything else, I mean, as far as the zoning itself,
Yep.
it's fine.
Yeah. Very good. Thank you very much. Thank you for making the drive up again. I appreciate it. Appreciate it. Even in the winter.
This is the time, I would like to ask, Mary, quick, do we have anything on the agenda for next month, or have you received it?
Nothing of which I'm aware.
None, okay, so when is the deadline for submitting?
Let's see, it has passed.
It is passed, so there won't be nothing for next month, okay?
And Scott, do you have anything to?
I know, nothing to add.
You're hanging in there?
Hanging in there.
Is it going well?
Yeah,
Great.
yep, doing very well. I enjoy it very much.
Wonderful. Great.
I mean,
Anything else?
I don't think there's anything else. I mean,
What are these? Oh, you gave me some.
I did. I'll take them back.
Okay.
Then you can
Okay,
motion
there
to
they
adjourn
are.
if you
There
want
they
to.
are.
Do
All right.
you want a motion to adjourn?
Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion to
I
adjourn.
second it.
All in favor? The meeting is adjourned.